Well, our topic tonight is crime and punishment. I have two guests with me, Darius Creighton with the law firm tonight, and Mr. Truman Fitzgerald here as our guest attorney. And Darius, you had a question for Truman.
I do, Truman. At the beginning of the show, we talked about how crime has been down the last couple of years. Do you have any reason that you can tell the audience as to why that is?
I think it just speaks to the job that law enforcement does. My heart and my passion is criminal defense. That's the reason I went to law school. However, I believe in giving credit where credit's due. And I think, especially here in Birmingham, it just speaks to the law enforcement executives that we have, and just seeing them and how they've addressed crime, particularly the Birmingham Police Department with Chief Pickett, and you've seen all he's done. And I think it just really speaks to the effort that the women and men of law enforcement put out each and every day.
That's really good. You know, we mentioned that we had Chief Heitch, David Heitch down at Calera. He was on last week, and we asked him just some things that folks can do just to make it safe for officers and for the public in terms of when they're stopped and things like that. Let me ask you, when it comes to drinking and driving, and I know this is not a drinking and driving show, but let me ask you about that because that's something that you all see often. What is your advice for folks to do in those situations when they're pulled over by an officer?
I would tell anyone, what you say can and will be used against you, and it is going to be used against you.
Okay.
I cannot stress that enough. It will be used against you.
Okay.
I will also tell people that there are police officers who absolutely love making DUI arrests.
Okay.
It is a passion within the law enforcement community.
Yeah.
Just like detective work, just like narcotics,
yes.
DUI is a specialty that officers go out and try to enforce.
Okay.
It's 2026. I've always said this, even though I practice DUI law,
yes.
in 2026, there's no excuse to not go out and protect yourself from a DUI.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of preaching. That's the father. That's the father in me.
Yes.
But I can say there's too many different avenues you could take in options.
Yes. Ubers, Lyfts, taxi cabs still work. You gotta be smart about it.
Please. And if you're worried about the expenses of an Uber, I guarantee you're going to pay 10 times that for an attorney.
If not more.
If not more.
Yes. You know, and we talk about it from that perspective, but you all see it on another end, I would imagine, just devastating circumstances.
I mean, it's really life-changing when you see someone that's drinking and driving and they take a loved one from another person. I mean, and all they really had to do was to take that Uber or to call a ride. You know, there's so many other options. I mean, walking is really even an option, but anything other than getting behind a wheel and operating that vehicle can save so many lives. And we've seen devastation when it comes to drinking and driving. It's really a shame. I do have another question for you, though. So I think one of the main questions I always get from people when they're talking about crime and punishment is sort of, all right, when I get pulled over, is there anything that I can do or say to the police officer to sort of help my chances? Whether it's trying to get out of a ticket, whether it's just try to get out of trouble, anything you can do to sort of kind of lower the suspicion that the police sort of have and sort of help yourself out.
I would say first and foremost, keep your hands where the officer can see them. That puts an officer at ease. If it's at nighttime, turn the lights on in your car. And never argue. Never argue.
Okay.
You are not going to win an argument on the side of the road with a police officer. I am an attorney, and I guarantee you I am not going to argue with a police officer on the side of the road. It is not yielding to authority. It is not being the weaker person. A police officer will argue that the sky is green. And as long as that officer thinks that in their mind, that's what matters.
Exactly. That's good advice.
Don't argue with them.
Yes, yes. Talk a little bit, and this is an interesting question. Blue lights come on behind you, but it's in an unmarked car. How do you know to trust that? What should be your course of action in that situation?
You can always pull over to a well-lighted area.
Okay.
And I've seen individuals actually call 911 because there are people that impersonate the police in our society.
Yes.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with slow rolling, put your hazard lights on, call 911. Hey, I'm getting pulled over. I don't see any letters, any markings on this car that's behind me. I just want to make sure that this is a police officer.
That's good. And officers don't mind if you, like you said, put your hazards on, go slow, if you keep going until there is a well-lit area. Officers understand that?
Some do. Some do.
Okay. I tell you that some don't.
I had a client one time that got charged with attempting to elude, and that was the #1 reason
wow.
why they did that. But that's why it's important to hire an attorney to tell your story.
Okay. I think we were talking with our producer last week, and she told us there was one situation, I believe it was 2 miles, that she went very slow, respectful, but went 2 miles. But I understand what you're saying is it just kind of really depends on that particular officer.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
But it also sounds like respect is the #1 thing all the way around.
Respect,
conversation,
and
physically.
conversation, and just being mindful that that officer has a job to do.
Yeah.
And we may not like the job that they do. However, your #1 priority is to get home to your family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's really good. And you had just provided a wealth of information. Anything as we're closing tonight, I think that you touched on it well. It sounds like you're saying don't be afraid to reach out to an attorney if you feel that's a situation. Don't be afraid to do so.
Don't be afraid. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You will be surprised how serious prosecutors take you and judges take you when you show up to court with representation.
Talk about a little bit more about that, why that makes a difference.
Because they know you have someone fighting in your corner.
Okay.
And I would tell anyone, if you're in Jefferson County and you cannot afford an attorney, we have one of the best public defender's office in the state of Alabama.
Yes.
And I stand by that.
And federal defender's case as well, correct?
Federal defender's
Exactly.
office as well.
Okay, wonderful. Darius, just with your background, anything else that you would add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think Truman said something very important a few minutes ago. He said that never argue. Most people don't understand that your case will not be won on the side of the road. You got to live to see the next day. You got to live to get to court. So make sure that you follow instructions. You go to court, then you make your arguments there. Obviously, try not to commit crimes, right?
Yes, well, let's start there. Yes.
But on the off chance that you find yourself in a situation, on the scene is not the place to argue.
That's really good advice.
Yeah,
Really good
get to
advice.
court.
Thank you.